All right, are you doubting yourself? Don't doubt. All right, let's talk about it. Hey there, Enterprisers, what's good? It's Jason Ligo here again, and in this video I want to talk to you about how to conquer doubt. That's right, how to conquer doubt, all right? More specifically, self-doubt. If you've been in business for any amount of time, or for that matter, if you've been alive for any amount of time, right? The reality is you have probably gone through a bout where you have struggled with doubt, all right? More specifically, self-doubt, in that you're just starting to doubt yourself. It could be one of those things where maybe you're just not seeing the results that you want to see, or maybe you're not seeing results that you've seen in the past. And so as humans, we kind of get to this place where as much as we want to be excellent in all that we want to do, and we want to be perfectionists in that regard, the reality is everyone goes through lulls, right? And then you hit seasons where because of that, doubt sets in, especially again, if you were riding a certain high and you're not anymore, maybe you got off the wagon, maybe you're trying to regain traction in an endeavor that you were doing well at before, or maybe you just never hit a certain high and you're working towards that. Whatever the case is, self-doubt can sink in, and if you're not careful, it can be actually very, very crippling to you, your lifestyle, your operation, to your mental capacities as well. And I got to tell you, it's one of those things that can be very, very serious, all right? Nothing too serious in terms of maybe medical attention, but it is one of those things that I have seen where people doubt themselves so much that they no longer get going, or maybe they stop from getting going and they never get started, and they quit. And it's one of those things where you wonder that, man, you've done so well in the past, how can something like this stop you? And the reality is I have seen it happen. And so with that said, I want to go ahead and offer you 3 very simple but very good and powerful ways for you to overcome this doubt, all right? You are an overcomer. You can do this. Let me show you exactly what you need to tell yourself when those times come in that says, hey, I doubt myself. No. Let's go ahead and get past it. Let me show you how. Number 1, don't compare yourself to others, okay? Don't compare yourself to others. I know that sounds very, very basic, but listen to me when I tell you that this is really one of those things that can be the biggest catalyst as to why you start doubting yourself, all right? Comparing yourself to others, especially in a case where maybe you're working with a colleague, or maybe you've got some friends, or maybe you have some competition out there and they're doing well. I remember for me personally, this is one of those things that would really set in oftentimes back during my competitive days as an affiliate marketer, right? I would be embarking in contests online and I would do well one week and then the next week I wouldn't, right? Or maybe it was one of those things where I got started and was doing well and then there was this up and comer always behind me who never caught me. And when he did, next thing I know, he was on top for several months, you know? And again, I'm not promoting unhealthy competition. I think competition is healthy, but I think you understand what I'm saying. When you're used to being on top and when you're used to doing well, it is one of those things where, yeah, the fall hurts, especially when there's someone else involved, right? When someone passes you, or maybe you have gotten started in doing something at the same time as somebody, and now they're doing well and you're not, right? Or they're doing better and you're not doing as well, right? If you got started at the same time, that's another thing that can really send your mind in a loop. And the biggest thing I can just tell you is just try not to compare yourself to others, right? I know that's human nature to do so, but this is one of those things where you got to do the mind over matter thing and say, you know what, I'm not in competition with anybody and I wish everyone well. I wish them all the success in the world because I've got mine coming too and I'm working for my own success. And I think if you take your eyes off of others, that can be very, very good for you. Now, with that said, it does still pay to keep your eyes on others so that you can mirror what they're doing, right? You can learn from them. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that choosing to learn from them instead of trying to hate on them, right? We used to say, don't hate, appreciate. Well, this is kind of one of those things where that really has a lot of world life meaning, because if you are looking at someone else's success and that bothers you, then maybe you've got an internal thing you need to fix first. With that said, if you can look at someone and say, man, they're doing great, I wonder what their secret is, let me watch them, pick their brain, take them out to lunch and figure out what's going on, and maybe I can apply that too, then I think that's not only going to keep you from doubting yourself, but it's going to get you to grow a lot quicker and a lot faster than if you didn't do this. And I got to tell you that that's kind of one of the things that really did it for me. And when I did that, some of these people, I'm happy to say that, you know, I competed with, they became some of my closest and best friends and greatest business associates, to the point where even when I finally got to where I was no longer just a lowly affiliate, launching my own products, doing my own thing, a lot of them even went so far as to cut testimonials for me to talk about how awesome and how great I was. And that really, really says a lot when someone looks and buys your product and they see that all of the social proof that is out there comes from from big name influencers and people who have already done it. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's all about how you spin it. You can look at someone and say, man, I wish I got what they got, or you can say, good on them, I'm coming for mine. And then of course that can turn into collaboration and other things in the future. It really is an exciting thing. So number one, don't compare yourself to others. Number two, remember previous achievements. Remember previous achievements, right? One of the easiest ways that you can re-inspire yourself and remind yourself that you're good enough to accomplish something is to think about the things that you've already accomplished. And I think that's one of the biggest things that really gets away from us as entrepreneurs, is that we're so busy chasing the next horizon, the next level. We're trying to rise to the next level that we forget how far we've come, right? Because it's also in good practice for us to not look back, right? Or not look down, because that takes your focus off, right? Never look back is what they say. Well, I get what they're saying, but there are times where it makes sense to do so. This is one of those times. Look back and remember the last time that you fought through adversity. Look back on the last time that you figured something out for yourself and remember how good it felt. Not necessarily remember how much money you made, although that can help you too, but think about how good it felt to succeed, to accomplish something, maybe to gain the respect and appreciation from others. In my previous point, I talked about cases where some of the people that I was competing with eventually came on to cut promotional material and testimonials for me, right? That felt great as well. That was a win, and that was a win that did turn into several dollars, by the way, right? It turns into some good chunks of money. Results not typical, but you understand what I'm saying. Think about the times that you crushed it. Think about the times where you got it done, where you made it happen. And I got to tell you, if you spend a season just doing that, not in an arrogant way, not in a hyped up way, but yeah, go ahead and pat yourself on the back and think back to that time. Man, that was really, really something. I figured it out. I knew nothing about websites, and yet, boom, look at me, man. I was able to figure it out and put together some pretty high converting funnels, right? Or I knew nothing about copywriting, and yet look at that campaign. That thing crushed it. Or I knew nothing about, color scheme and marketing and the aesthetics of the marketing game. And man, that really was eye-catching. Man, I did that. These are the kind of things you need to think about. These are the kind of things that you need to spend some time reminding yourself of previous achievements, previous victories, and I tell you, you will be on cloud 9 by the time it's over. Number 3, and finally, fix your thinking, right? Fix your thinking. I know it sounds very cliche. Go ahead and get the stinking thinking out, or whatever you want to call it, but it's ever so true, my friends. Fix your thinking. I really want you to think about the possibilities of how that might apply to you specifically, because I think this is one of those things where I can't tell you what that looks like for you. I think you need to assess what your thinking looks like and then fix it from that point. And again, I want to go back to my first point about what can you do to change the way that you view things is the most important thing, because that's basically where it starts. You can look at other people out there who's selling and who's in the market, and you can look at them as competition, or you can look at them as collaboration, right? You can look at adversities as struggles and impossibilities, or you can view them as opportunities, right? Times to shine, times to prove yourself. You can look at hard situations and you can say, you know what? This is something that will either make me or break me. And I gotta tell you, if you can go ahead and fix your thinking from that standpoint, then you'll never doubt yourself again, because there is nothing more powerful in crushing doubt than really building up the person that you are who can overcome that type of adversity, or any for that kind of matter. I remember years ago in my career, before I got started in my own business, I was working a very good career at one of the largest banks in the world as a commercial banker, and I started in the retail front as a personal banker in the branch. And I remember that you have these customers who would always come in to complain, or there were hard cases, they had issues, they were fuming, they didn't like service fees, this and that. They had all these types of issues that they were really wanting to go ahead and give the banker a piece of the mind about. And I remember a lot of the other bankers who were on the floor never wanted to take them, right? They're always trying to avoid them because they said that person's got an issue, that person's always complaining about this, they're always whining about these service fees, they don't understand how this works or whatever. I remember always being the one to step up and say, I'll take them. Initially in my mind, I took them just because I didn't mind, simply because I got tough skin. And more importantly, I figured if someone wanted to take a lot of time just, whining and complaining at me, that was just going to help pass my day. And before you know it, I got to the end of the day, and that's kind of, I had the right to go home. But eventually, I actually enjoyed those moments because I viewed every single one going forward as an opportunity to win somebody over, right? To earn the business, as a lot of bankers say, in that type of, and really a lot of salespeople say that in a lot of sales situations, because that's exactly what happened. There was a really disgruntled customer who came in, and they really, at the core of their beef, I listened to them and figured out what was the problem. And it really came down to them just being treated wrong at another branch and being very matter of matter-of-factly spoken to, incurring some fees along the way, not understanding what they were for, and of course, even I have, at that time, I had very limited ability in what I could do, but I did what I could in terms of a courtesy refund or something like that. And I spent a lot of time explaining to them why they happen, after listening to them, of course, and then talked about ways that they could maybe avoid it. And then also took that time to steer the conversation, to learn more about them and their family and their goals. And before you know it, I had a referral for a couple of different sales opportunities, which resulted in a lot of products sold and a fairly decent, commission piece to me as a result of that relationship. But that's the key, right? I was able to spend time with this person, build a relationship over time, and this person brought me repeat business to the point where they even followed me as my career escalated into other lines of business, and they brought me business in that form as well. And that is one of those golden moments that I will always remember, so that I looked at every opportunity after that as, okay, if you any people you have who are upset, well, bring them to me. Now, did I convert all of them? No, of course not. There are some people who left, who packed up their business and left and packed up all of their money and went to another bank, couldn't do anything with them. Some people are just at that point, but I wasn't afraid of them. And because of that, I welcomed everyone who looked like them and sounded like them. And as a result of that, a lot of those folks came around to being reconciled to me and doing business with me and earning friends for life. I remember leaving to go work at other branches, and when certain customers found out about that, a lot of them would bring me, some really nice and fun trinkets and toys and I say toys, but you know what I'm saying, like gifts that basically said, thanks for your awesome service. I wish you the best of luck. And some people even followed me, said, what branch are you going to be going to? I don't want to talk to anyone else but you, right? You can really build customers, clients, friends and associates and loyal people for life. You can certainly do that in your own business if you've got the right thinking. So whatever it is, my friend, fix your thinking. There you have it, my friends. Hope this was helpful, and I trust that it was. Go ahead and leave me a like, a comment, a share, but most importantly, subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any more hot new content that I got coming down the pipe just for you. This is Jason Ligo with Always Enterprise. I will see you next time. Take care.